Okay, great. So I have a little bit of housekeeping I'm going to just take care of real quick, and then we'll go ahead and jump right in for the recording. My name is Ry Berg, and I've been with the Gauntlet for about a year. And tonight we will be playing The Quiet Year by Avery Alder. And this is part of Gauntlet Con 2019. And the Gauntlet, for those who are not familiar with it, is an online gaming community and podcast network that focuses on indie RPGs, story games, and the OSR. And we will be abiding by the Gauntlet's inclusivity policy tonight, which is assume the best intentions, act with integrity and kindness, maintain a safe space, and be a good citizen. All right, so with that, we'll go ahead and do intros of all of our players tonight. So if you could just introduce yourself and your pronouns. I go with he, him pronouns. And then if you just want to say a quick word about if you've played other games at GauntletCon, which one you really enjoyed this time around, or your favorite PBTA game, so we know a little bit about you before we jump into the Quiet Year. Callie, you want to start?
Well, it's Kaylee. And
Kaylee,
don't worry,
sorry.
literally everybody does it. Like, even my own family sometimes stumbles. It's fine. This is actually only my second game ever with Gauntlet. I signed up for like the $8 Patreon, and then I just joined the con. So yesterday I played After the War, Barley Mao. That was really interesting. I'm planning on contacting the creator and seeing if I could play that in a campaign instead of a one-shot. But yeah, I don't kind of new. Sorry.
No worries. Blaine?
I'm Blaine, he, him. I've been with the Gauntlet for also around a year. Just before last Gauntlet Con was my first game with the Gauntlet. Haven't been getting into too many games lately, just life stuff, but I like Hearts of Wulin and Trophy and all the fun new things coming out. So
Great. All right. Mendel.
So my name's Mendel Schmidekamp, but you can just use Mendel. I use he, him pronouns, and this is my first Gauntlet game, although I've been a Patreon subscriber for a while. So, and as a heads up, I have what passes for rural broadband, so connectivity might be iffy. Which is the other reason I don't have a webcam.
Great.
I've played fairly little PBTA, but I did manage to run a year-long dungeon world game. So,
all right, cool. Great. Well, thank you all for joining me, and excuse me if I say this evening because I'm in Berlin and I see sunshine, I think, out of Kaylee's window, but
it's 2:00 here. It's fine.
Yeah, so wherever you are, thanks for joining. How many of you, Kaylee said she's played The Quiet Year before. Blaine, have you played before?
I haven't played it. I've heard a few actual plays.
Okay, great. And Mendel?
I haven't played it, but I'm familiar with it to some extent. So.
Okay, great. The interesting thing about The Quiet Year is it tells you to read the whole rules before you play it. And since we're recording this, we can do most of that, but we can probably shorten it up a little bit. I don't know if we need to read the whole rule book. But I also included the link in the email I sent to all of you, a link to the rules. So we'll kind of pass that around, and you can each read a passage so you don't have to listen to my voice for like 15 minutes. Just a little bit of background before we get started. Quiet Year is a map drawing game, and it's kind of looking at the struggles that a community goes through as they try to rebuild after the collapse of civilization. So it's a little bit post-apocalyptic, but last time I played it, we played with like a lot of fantasy elements too, and it worked just fine. So when we get to the part where we talk about kind of what we want the game to look like, that's all pretty much open. Last little bit of housekeeping. Just talk about our safety tools real quick. As I mentioned, there's an open table, so if you need to step away for any reason, if something comes up in the game, or if just life stuff pops up and you have to leave, no problem. If you can give us a heads up if you're coming back in that'd be great, but if not, we understand. And then we'll be playing with the X card and lines and veils. For those who aren't familiar with the X card, you can simply say X card or type that in the chat, or cross your arms in front of you, and we'll stop the current action, go back a little bit and restart. If it's not totally clear kind of what the content was, I might ask for a clarification, but you can also just X card that, and we'll just try to rewind as best as we can if we need to. And then if it's a real big issue, we can pause the game for a little bit and check in offline to just make sure that we're not touching on subject matter that people don't want to touch on. For lines and veils, for those not familiar, lines are kind of like hard rules of things that we won't bring up in the game. And then veils are things that we're okay with being in the game, but we won't want to spend like a lot of time on them. So I have a couple of both that I'm going to introduce here, and then we can go around, and if you have any others that you would like to add, please do so. So my lines, things that I'm not okay with having in the game is like overt violence against children, sexual violence, torture, and then instances of sexism and homophobia. And then on veils, I think we can fade to black if we need any graphic depictions of sex or anything like that. We can just kind of fade that out. And then kind of like ultra-violent stuff, I think violence is fine, but if we get like too crazy on it, I'd like to just kind of fade that out. So everybody okay with those?
Yep.
Okay. Any that anybody wants to add? No.
I think you included like all of mine, so I'm good. Thank
Great.
you.
Likewise.
Great. Okay. And I like the cat picture, Mendel. Welcome. All right. So if you have the rules, or actually, let's all go to the map real quick, and just kind of orient ourselves to that, and then we'll go back over the rules. So on the left-hand side, there's some borers there. If you just want to take pick one and go ahead and type your name and pronouns there, will probably be on this map more than looking at each other. Or I will be anyway, since I don't have dual monitors. So just go ahead and type your name in there. And sorry about the gray-white combo. I was trying a few other colors, but I was having a little trouble there. So those are our names over there. On the right-hand side, where it says procedure, that's just kind of the order of actions that each turn will go in, which we'll talk through when we go through the rules. Below that is our resources. So we'll have things that we have plenty of and things that we don't have enough. So we'll type those in there. And then down below, we'll have projects. And we'll have a dice next to them that we choose. And once we draw something out, you just copy paste and pull your die out and set it next to that project. Type in how many weeks it is, and we'll leave it on the board until the project's finished, and then we can delete them. And then there's contempt tokens too. You can copy those and just drag them up by your name or under your name if you're feeling contemptful about one of the other actions. So, all right, cool. So if we can all go over to the directions. We're going to scroll down to chapter 2, which is the opening story, which I'll read real quick. So for a long time, we were at war with the jackals. Now, finally, we've driven them off, and we're left with this: a quiet year of relative peace, one quiet year with which to build our community up and learn again how to work together. Come winter, the frost shepherds will arrive, and we might not survive the encounter. This is when the game will end, but we don't know about that yet. We will know. What we know is that right now, in this moment, there's an opportunity to build something. Okay. So, the other link I sent you, just to orient yourself, is a link to all of the cards that we will be using, and we'll be following a deck. I have just a regular deck of cards here that I have separated the suits out and kind of pre-prepared. We'll be doing the short version tonight, where I've removed 4 cards from each suit. that'll take us about 3.5 hours at least, depending on how long we talk about each action. So I think that should pretty good, and then I'll leave us a few minutes to wrap up at the end. So hearts will represent spring, diamonds will be summer, autumn will be clubs, and winter will be spades. And so those kind of represent the seasons as we go through the year. And then while we're playing, we're not going to embody like specific characters, of course. We're kind of embodying the community at a bird's eye level. But so think about introducing things that are helpful to the community, but also things that are going to make our lives interesting and that we're going to have to deal with. So as we go along, feel free to introduce plenty of conflict. All right, so now comes kind of the first collaborative piece where we're going to kind of sketch out the terrain. We have to establish some facts about the community and its surroundings. So we're just going to take like 2 to 3 minutes real quick about the general terrain and habitat of the area. And you can say something as simple as, we're in a rocky desert. Or maybe we want to play in the woods or on a mountain or next to the ocean on a bunch of islands, whatever folks kind of want to do. And then we will each introduce a detail about the terrain and draw that on the map. So we'll start from kind of the bottom of my screen and work back up, and then we'll come back down the other way with adding details. Mendel, any ideas about the terrain you want to play in?
My default answer is forest, but that's the default answer in the rules, so I feel like not doing that.
Okay, yeah.
So how about actually, how about swamplands?
Swamplands? Okay.
Like like this is a wetland. This is a sunken place, as it were. I'm not sure how to draw that, but I'll figure it out in a second.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, first we're just going to kind of all come to an agreement on if we want to do swamplands or whatever. But so your vote is for swamplands?
Yes, I'll vote for swamplands.
Cool.
Marshlands.
Blaine, any ideas? Are you good with swamp or?
Okay with swamp. I was thinking like a small archipelago.
Okay. Cool.
That works in swamplands too. So.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And Kaylee?
Yeah, no, swamps work for me. I probably would have gone with estuary, which is kind of that weird sea to freshwater transition area, which is still kind of swampy and works with the archipelago. So
yeah.
Maybe there's mosquitoes there.
I'm fine with that qualification on that. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, cool.
Yes.
All right, so Callie, if you want to be the first to draw something on the map and tell us what it is as you're drawing it to represent kind of the terrain.
Well, we've chosen an archipelago, so I think we should have... Oh, that's a really ugly island. I'm so sorry. I think we should have at least 3 different islands, like the main one where we live on, and then a couple of little ones. Does that sound cool? Or is that too big?
Well, with an estuary, you could almost have like a large river delta, but
Oh yeah. I guess that makes more sense. Where's this? There, lost it.
And
You're so hard. I'm sorry.
Drawing on this program is not super great, but it's like easy for everyone to access. So no shame in your drawings. We did a lot of stick figures last time. So.
All right, there you go. There's the beautiful river.
All right, cool. All right, Blaine, you want to add something?
There's our river. Let's see if my tablet will actually work with this. Sort of. Yeah, no, that's just going to make things more difficult. So that's the river. So I think, like, are we still just doing environment, or are we, like, adding other things at this point? You're muted.
You can add a detail about the environment that you like. So
Okay.
an island, or if you want to add like a old fort or something, there's some detail like that.
So I think, so here's the river, then it gets out into the sea, and then, like, out here we'll have a very ugly island.
Great. All right, Mendel?
Right. I'm thinking of marking out the land part of the estuary, or did we want this to be islands?
It can be both, or it's up to you.
Okay.
It sounds like we could have an estuary and then some islands right outside of the estuary is kind of what I was-
Yeah, like, there's still probably, like, mainland that's just going to be, like, more towards the north side, I think.
Yeah.
Our map is not to scale. Let's just put it like
Yes.
that, right?
Yeah. And Blaine, if you want to draw in a couple of islands, you can go ahead and draw your
Yeah.
whole archipelago there. So, yeah. And then,
Oh no, this is a terrible idea. Sorry. I was about to do something with multiple text boxes.
I mean,
That would be highlight doom. Hold on. Can I just Google search for an image?
yeah, you can insert images too. So,
Lane, I think you should let your cat also help you play, because you clearly are ready to
She's really
participate.
trying to draw on my pad.
I thought Mendel would just showed up in your room all of a sudden, but from the cat picture here. But that's cool. What's your cat's name?
I've got two. I've got BB and Bogey.
Okay, loading pictures.
All right.
The one on my
I
lap
locked
is
mine
Bogey. Yeah, I probably should, but they can open the door to this room, so
Oh, yeah.
wouldn't last very long.
I've got two Siamese, so they're very loud. Don't want them in here.
All right, cool. Mendel, oh wow.
I have an idea. Maybe. There we go. Okay, format options.
The suspense is just killing me over here. It's just... That's a nice color transition there. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Okay. So, all right. I think that communicates it.
You're still muted, Rye.
All right, so that's the estuary here, or the land here. All right, I think I'm going to add an old fortress. Oh, that didn't work. Up here on the top. Oh, I got to change the...
What kind of a fortress is it?
I think it's like an old civilization fortress where there's like there's like the walls are still left, maybe. But and then there's like several buildings left that are all blocked down, but we have not been in it yet, so we don't know what's in there yet. But that'll be the fortress up here. It's be up on kind of a hill, I think. So, okay. We've got a general terrain down, and we can always add more stuff to this as we go. We can discover things as we go forward. So we'll just scoot back over the rules real quick. The next thing is we have to choose our starting resources. So we'll each choose one resource, and then it could be either in abundance or scarcity, and we'll pick that second. So right now, just think of what a good resource would be. Some examples are clean drinking water, a source of energy, protection from predators, adequate shelter, and food. Mendel, do you want to go first and throw us out a resource here?
I mean, considering the terrain, I think drinking water is a primary concern.
Okay. I'm going to list these under not enough for now, but we'll move a couple up to plenty when we start. So you said drinking water?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Or potable water, I guess.
Okay. Oops. Blaine?
Boats or transportation.
Okay. And Kaylee?
I think fish is a good option, which I guess is just food, but fish in particular.
Okay, cool. I'm going to say trust. All right. Great. So as a group, we now choose only one of these resources to be in abundance, and the other three are in scarcity. So I'll just open it up. Anyone throw out which one you want to be in abundance here.
Just because trust is kind of like essential for having a community, that might be the one we actually have to have. I mean, water and fish are both really important, but if you can't trust each other, then
all you need is a community that is pretty heterogeneous and you're stuck together, and trust could be a really, really scarce commodity. I was leaning towards fish.
I mean, I agree, but also like, no. I got my fish, but someone might kill me for it. Like, ooh.
Fish? Blaine, you got any opinions?
Yeah, I think we were all thinking different ones. I was thinking transportation.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm happy to go with whatever. So, what do we think will make for the most?
Okay, you can't eat the islands.
What do you think will make for the most fun game to be lacking? I think it seems like if we take trust, then the things that we're lacking is really like the necessities of life. So we're going to spend like a lot of time struggling to get resources. If we don't take trust, then we'll probably be searching for some resources, but also searching for some like social interaction and struggling with that. Fish? Everyone okay with fish?
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's more interesting if trust is a scarce commodity.
Yeah.
In essence.
Okay. All right, we will go with fish. That's what we have plenty of.
We can build boats as our first project, Blaine, I promise.
Yeah. And just because something's listed as a scarcity now doesn't mean that we can't fix that through some of our actions during the game. So that'll give us something to work towards. Bringing the community together. All right. So if you want to scroll down to chapter 3 in the rules, we'll pass this around and each person can just read a quick paragraph. Kaylee, do you want to start reading the week?
Sure. The week, the basic unit of the play in the quiet year, is the week. Each week is a turn taken by one player, with play proceeding clockwise around the table. I'm assuming you have something for that. Weeks should take an average of 2 to 3 minutes to complete. During each week, the following things happen. 1. The active player draws a card, reads the relevant text aloud, and resolves it. They follow all bold text. 2. Project dice are reduced by 1, and any finished projects are updated. 3. The active player chooses and takes an action, discover something new, hold a discussion, or start a project.
Great. Blaine, do you want to read the cards here?
Sure. Drawing cards. As there are 52 cards, there are 52 weeks. We won't necessarily get to play all of them. The Frost Shepherds could arrive any time during winter. Most cards have 2 options to choose from, separated by an OR divider. Pick the option that you find most interesting and fitting, and read the text aloud. The card might ask you a question, bring bad news, or create new opportunities. Many cards have specific rules attached to them which are written in bold text. If you drew the card, it's up to you to make the decisions that the card requires. If a card asks you a question, think about whether your answer could be represented on the map somehow. If it fits, update the map to reflect this new information. For example, if the card asks you about the sleeping quarters for the community, you might end up drawing a row of tents near the edge of the forest.
Great. All right. Mendel, working on projects?
Unless your card specifically told you otherwise in bold text, the next step is to reduce each project die on the map by 1. If a project reaches 0, the die gets removed and the project is completed. Whoever started the project gets to tell everyone how it turns out and update the map to reflect its completion. If a project finishes early, because a card says that a project finishes early in bold text, it is instead the responsibility of the active player to tell everyone how it turns out and to update the map. If your card's bold text had you place a project die on the map just a moment ago, that die doesn't reduce during this week. It's just now getting underway. When a project gets completed, it's assumed that it went successfully and is beneficial to the community. In some cases, it might make sense to have an investigative project end with a hope dispelled. Even in these cases, the completion of the project should always feel like a step forward, not backwards. This doesn't always mean that the whole community is happy with the results, though.
Great. Kaylee, back to you. Discover something new.
Sorry, I just shoved an apple in my mouth.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Discover something new. One of the action types is discover something new. Introduce a new situation. It might be a problem, an opportunity, or a bit of both. Draw that situation onto the map. Drawing should be small and simple. Smaller than an inch, finished within 30 seconds. Whenever things seem too controlled or easy, we can use this action to introduce new issues and dilemmas. When individual characters get introduced, we'll give them names and record those names on our index card. Some example situations are: there's a dried up well located at the edge of town. Mangy wolves have been slinking around the woods. There's a broken down water mill a mile upstream. Strange wailing noises coming from the forest at night. A self-declared prophet arrives.
Great. All right. Blaine, hold the discussion.
Hold a discussion. Another of the action types is hold a discussion. You can choose to open with a question or a declaration. Starting with you and going clockwise, everyone gets to weigh in once, sharing a single argument comprised of 1 to 2 sentences. If you opened with a question, you get to weigh in last. If you opened with a declaration, that's it for you. A discussion never results in a decision or a summation process. Everyone weighs in and then it's over. This is how conversations work in communities. They are untidy and inconclusive affairs. Each discussion should be tied to a situation on the map. When a discussion ends, mark the situation it is attached to with a small dot. Some example conversations include: should we retaliate against the bikers? or if leading with a declaration, we should abstain from retaliation or violence. Could we use the school bus as a sleeping area for the village children? It's important that we stay concise. If any of us feel like we have more to say on a topic, we can always hold another discussion about it at a later point.
All right. I love that one. It's so fun. Cool. Mendel, start a project.
The final action type is start a project. You choose the situation and declare what the community will do to resolve it. There's no consultation about this idea. The community simply begins work. Some example projects. We're converting the mineshaft into cold food storage. We're killing those wolves. We're going to sacrifice a newborn on the night of the full moon to appease the windwalkers. As a group, quickly decide how many weeks the project could reasonably take to complete. Minimum 1, maximum 6. Remember that you are a small community. It isn't easy or quick to build a house or repair a water wheel. Do you have the necessary tools and expertise to do this? Be generous with your assumptions, but do remember that scarcity and difficulty are the norm. If a project would reasonably take longer than 6 weeks to complete, it will need to be completed in stages. Place a die on the map wherever the project is taking place, with the die face matching the number of the weeks it will take to complete.
Great. All right. The next page I can just kind of breeze us through. As I mentioned, with updating resources, if we do something and we feel like it's appropriate to erase a scarcity or add a new one, we can do that at any time. If we want to change a scarcity up to an abundance or anything like that, we can do that depending on the actions, as long as it kind of follows with the story. Again, balancing our actions. We could just do all good projects the whole time and discover all good things for our community, but I think it's fun to sometimes introduce complications and then see where it goes. So, and then contempt. This is kind of an interesting one, since the only way we have to kind of talk about issues is to hold the conversation. If someone decides to add something to the map, or take an action and you feel like you don't like that action for whatever reason, grab a contempt and just let us all know you're taking a contempt token on that. And that's one way to kind of, maybe you were really interested in the way something was going and someone else bulldozed your project down or whatever it is. Feel free to grab a contempt token. And then if someone does something you greatly support, you can discard a contempt token as well to demonstrate that you like that. All right, the last thing, restraint. I don't know if we need to go into this too much. When I played this with the Gauntlet before, I think most of the people on the Gauntlet are really good at role-playing and have done a lot of it. The Quiet Year does ask that you kind of limit it to the actions on the table, but I think it's okay, if you want to give a little more detail on something, we have the time to do that. So, but in general, we're supposed to kind of go through the process. And then the last thing is on the pacing. The community will really develop as we go through this, and it's pretty fun to see the map when we get done and all the doodles that we have on that. So, all right. I think that's all the rules we kind of need to go over together. So I think we're good to get going. What I'm going to do is just kind of, we'll just, instead of clockwise or counterclockwise, we're just going to kind of go down the order of how people are listed on the left side for their turns. So Mendel, you'll be up first. And what I'll do is I will draw the first card off of my deck and hold it up so that everyone can see it. And then if you want to navigate to the link that I sent you with the cards, there should have been a link there as well.
Can you read off that order? Because I actually don't have I have it, you guys, in a 4 square, not a...
on the left side of the map.
Oh, that. Oh, I'm
yeah.
Sorry.
So we'll start.
Yes, that's what I figured.
We'll go from top to bottom there. Yeah. I have people in a 4 square too. So yeah. So if that's okay with you, we can. Yeah. Okay. All right. So does everybody have access to the Oracle cards that I sent over?
I do. Yes.
Okay. Mendel. Okay, great. So the first one, so I can make sure you guys can see this, is the Queen of Hearts. So just go ahead and read off what your two choices are to the group, and then you get to choose which one you want to do.
All right. So my two options are: what's the most beautiful thing in this area, or what's the most hideous thing in this area? Hmm. Okay, I think I'm going to go with what's the most hideous thing in this area. And it's, I guess it's just a describe that, right?
Yeah, you describe it, and then you get to doodle it on the map, so we all know where
Okay.
it is.
All right. I wasn't sure if that required a bold. Oh, I guess it doesn't. That's just engaging the mechanics. All right. Okay. So, to my mind, there's a. Let me see. Yeah, that works. There is a. There's a slime mold collection that let's see, I should make that text smaller. There's a sort of a giant colony of slime mold that has just taken over part of the estuary, and it's this it's just this sort of roiling wrong. It has, you know, it's absorbing the trees. It's all through everything, and it's just this miasm of sure brightly colored. So it's almost the answer to the other side of it. It's like this really it's yes, it's brightly colored and sort of just plain wrong in the section. It's like you walk into another world. And the and everything is just covered with this viscous slime.
Perfect.
There's that. Where is
Thanks for that nightmare.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. So I'll just read through the steps for a couple of turns until we're all kind of in the groove. But next thing up would be to project progress, but we don't have any projects out there yet. So, and then the last thing you get to do on your turn is take an action. So you can hold a conversation, begin a project, or discover something new.
Yeah, that'll be okay. There, that looks good. Okay. I think that I'm gonna focus on the I like that. Okay. We need a lumber mill. We need somewhere that we can cut boards so that we can make boats and we can make troughs to try to shunt drinking water into the dry parts of the community. So we have multiple needs for lumber. So I feel like we need to set up a lumber mill somewhere. It's going to have to be close to the river. Do I just put the die there? Yeah. Okay.
Draw a little lumber mill picture too, because once the die is counted down,
Oh, okay, got it.
It'll come off.
Okay.
Yeah. Great. So while you're drawing that, Blaine, we'll move on to you. Your card is the Ace of Hearts.
Excuse me.
Ace of Hearts. Options are: what group has the highest status in this community? What must people do to gain inclusion in this group? Or are there distinct family units in the community? If so, what family structures are common? So we don't have, looking at our lacks, we don't have enough trust, and we don't have enough drinking water or transport. We don't have enough of all those, but I'm thinking the lack of trust probably is related to this. So I think those with the highest status are those that have that are trusted by the community, where like most people don't trust each other, but these people are well liked by everybody else. As far as what you do to get a part of that, I think maybe there's like a dangerous animal in the swamp, and in order to become trusted, you have to either chase off those animals or like hunt them successfully to prove that you're useful to the community.
Perfect. All right. We forgot to add a number to Mendel's lumber mill. But we should do that before we move on. 1 through 6.
I'm not expecting it to be low, so.
Yeah.
4 seems like a good number to me.
Okay.
If that's
Okay.
All right. Great. All right. So on your turn, then, Blaine, you get to reduce that to a 3.
Okay. All right. Then this, I think. So, having established that the dangerous animals exist, I think I'm going to discover something new and add like a nest to the map.
Perfect. All right. All right. Kaylee, I need to get you a card.
yeah. I was like, all right, I'm ready.
All right. The 6 of Hearts.
The 6 of Hearts. Are there children in the community? If there are, what is their role in the community? Or how old are the eldest members of the community? What special needs do they have? I think there are kids, and one of their main roles is that they have to go into the estuary with adult supervision, and they have to like find crawdads and like pick them out so we can eat them. Have you ever gone crawdad hunting? I'm seeing laughter, but not response. So basically,
Sorry, I was muted. I have.
Yeah, you basically have to like find the hole and dig them out, right? So that's a good thing for kids to do. So that's what they get to do. Go crawfish hunting every day. I guess I get to do a thing.
Yeah, and you get to reduce that project die as well.
I've reduced it to a 2. Oh, and there's your nest. I would like to have a discussion. What should we do about the nest of dangerous animals that we know about?
All right, so for discussions, we'll just go in the same order. And since you asked a question, I believe you get to also be the last one to give a statement. And our statements are supposed to be short. So representing the elders in the community, I'm going to say, we should leave the nest alone. It's too dangerous. We'll lose our best hunters if we go in there and just try to kill them all. And besides, if we kill them all, how are we going to prove when people are worthy in our community? Wendell.
Representing the families of the aggrieved, as it were, those who have lost loved ones to the beasts. If we worked together to overcome this, many would not have to die fighting alone against these creatures. Instead, we could be safer as a community.
Representing the hunters, the creature's nest was found to be among the walls of the old fortress. If we can clear them out, we can reclaim those structures and use them for our own defenses.
I didn't think of a part of the community to represent yet. Hold on.
You don't necessarily have to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we should approach with caution, but waiting for doom does not stop it from happening. We can find new ways to trust each other if we can find new ways to be safe. That's the end of the discussion. So.
All right. I think it's my turn now.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I got the King of Hearts here. We're going over all the big ones first. King of Hearts. A young boy starts digging in the ground and discovers something unexpected. What is it? An old man confesses to past crimes and atrocities. What has he done? I'm going to go with the young boy. I think a group of kids are out crawdad fishing, and they're digging up a big nest. And they discover... I think they discover like a weird energy pack that starts giving off some signals and also kind of a weird radiation field that makes anybody who goes near it kind of sick. So I'll draw that on the map here in a second. And I'll reduce the projects here. So, energy pack. I'm going to put it over by the slime mold because those things probably are related.
Oh no.
We'll make it.
Nothing quite like radioactive slime mold.
Can I not fill the center? Alright, I'll put that right. No, that didn't work. There we go. Okay. I'm going to reduce the project dice. So I think I'm going to start a project. Or I guess we need to finish the lumber mill probably first before the drinking water and the transportation.
Can't we have more than one project going at a time?
Oh yeah, just those ones kind of seemed related, but yeah, we can definitely
okay.
have,
No, you're fine.
have projects. I will discover something new. I think that we see one of us is swimming out to one of the islands, and they find the ruins of a tower out there, of a lighthouse on the other side. And it's still flashing light from the top. So I will draw that on here. Actually, I think it started flashing light from the top when we found the new artifact. There we go. All right. Okay, so Mendel, you're back up. You have the Two of Hearts.
Two of Hearts. Okay. These are both true. There's a large body of water on the map. Where is it? What does it look like? And there's a giant man-made structure on the map. Where is it? Why is it abandoned? So which one should we double down on? All right. So linking with previously, I think that something that I think was fitting, or well, as in addition to the lighthouse and the battery pack signal generator, another item has become more apparent in the area. In particular, it is a basically an offshore structure that seems to have slowly risen above the waves, far enough away that we really can't swim out to it, but it sort of looms on the horizon.
Atlantis, is that you?
Oh, it won't let me draw things like that. Okay. Won't let me draw off the edge. What is this line anyway?
I'm not sure. Then you just...
It'll let me do that. Good. So this is the edge of it. Okay. The project finishes, so we have a functioning lumber mill, which I'm gonna, yeah, okay.
Right, and you get to describe a little bit about that, or because you started the lumber mill, I think, yeah. So
I did, yes.
Yeah.
So the lumber mill is using some scrounged up blades that are not particularly sharp, but because of the fact that we're able to get the water wheel hooked up, means that they're able to cut. And now we have lumber. We just need to find a water source, or just need to find some way to connect the boards together to build better and better rafts, at least. And of course, we have to cut down trees. We cut down all the easily accessible trees to build the lumber mill. So we're going to have to go further afield to find more.
So should we add a resource, or not enough trees, but for the time being, like a plenty of lumber? I don't know.
Yeah, we could do that. At least for the moment, we have plenty of lumber. Okay, I'll add that. All right, and I think that there is definitely going to be, I mean, the community doesn't all trust each other, so there's going to be some subset of the hunters who are trying to gather people together and arm them and prepare them for an attack on the wild beast location, on the nest. So I think that will be a new project.
Cool. How long do people think that'll take?
How reckless are they?
And also, how prepared are they to start? Like, do they already have enough men and weapons, or is it just like a grab everybody and go kind of thing? And how big is the nest? Is this like a long, protracted thing, or is it just route the beasts and be done?
So I think this is. I feel like the end of this project is the assault, right? Not the outcome of that. So, I
think
so
it would. I think it might at least take a week or two to like get everybody on board. They'd probably have to like do some convincing. We don't have like weapons as a plenty of, but we probably have enough like simple things to defend ourselves. I don't know.
Right, and we have lumber, so we could we could make makeshift spears and shields with that. So maybe 3 weeks.
Sure.
Okay.
All right, Blaine. Card here. The 5 of Hearts.
There is a disquieting legend about this place. What is it? Or alarming weather patterns destroy something. How and what? I think there's just like a massive earthquake that splits open the structure that rose above the ocean. Like just cracks it in two, and it sort of falls halfway beneath. Like that's still the ruins are above the water, but it's largely destroyed. And then 1 week away from the assault on the beasts. And then for a project, I think we probably do start production of boats, because now that we see all these other things going on in the water and on the islands, we want to investigate and be able to get farther there. So I will start a project for that.
folks think that's a long project, short project? I mean, rafts we could probably throw together pretty quick, but maybe to get out to the big one, we need something more seaworthy. I don't know.
I guess that depends on which structure you want to reach first. Are we just going to the lighthouse, or are we trying to get to, cracked Atlantis?
I think this is just. I think we'll probably start with just a raft so that we can get around somewhat and we can make use of the islands.
Okay, so this would be build rafts, and then the next one
Yeah.
would be build boats.
What are you doing to my river?
The river's shifting. It's fine. It happens all the time. It's natural. So for rafts, do we think 4 weeks to get a good number of them? Since we do still have to get the lumber for it at the same time.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Sure.
Cool. All right, so that was your action. Kaylee, 7 of Hearts.
7 of Hearts. Where does everyone sleep? Who is unhappy with this arrangement and why? What natural predators roam this area? Are you safe? Well, we've already kind of answered the one, so I'll go with where does everyone sleep? I think further in on the island slightly, and we largely sleep in almost tree houses or hammocks, something up off the ground, just because with the tide, the estuary kind of floods and recedes over and over again, and you don't really want to wake up soaking wet. Or obviously anyone who doesn't like heights, or older people who maybe can't get up there easily, or pregnant. Anyone who's not physically easily able to climb high is pretty unhappy with that. But there's not really a good way to build on the ground yet. But now we have lumber, so maybe we could build steps or something. But that's my idea.
Cool. I want to see your tree houses.
Oh man, now I feel that line was crooked. Everything's destroyed.
I'm going to delete this
there's
random line out of the bottom too. I don't know what that is.
There was a deeply impoverished part of southern France, which was so marshy that pretty much everyone knew how to walk on stilts, and they would do that just everywhere. Yeah. So that's since died out, but it's within 100 years ago.
That's
right,
cool.
I'm trying to build leaves. Just leave me to my suffering, okay? They're trees, dang it.
I kind of feel like that was my favorite part of doing this with this program last time, was seeing all of the sketch art.
All right. There's a tent on top of some palm trees. There you go.
That's awesome.
Oh, and I get to reduce things. Hold on. It's down to 1. Down to 3. Sorry, I'm trying to think of something new to discover. I could do another project, I don't know. Oh, I've got it. So I think at the back, in the center of the island, somewhere where we haven't really gone because it's a long walk, somebody gets out there and discovers a crater, and it looks like there's a different set of trees down there. They're just different. Something's weird about them. Let's see if I can. Can I rotate this? Oh, I can. 1 second. So there's just a weird mini biome that we haven't really explored yet, and it's just down in there. Seem cool?
All right. Cool. While you're working on your art, I will start my turn here. 8 of hearts. An old piece of machinery is discovered broken but perhaps repairable. What is it? What would it be useful for? An old piece of machinery is discovered cursed and dangerous. How does the community destroy it? I feel like I already did the other one, the second part. So, I think what we find that is repairable. Let's see. I think we find a bunker that has a large store of metal cable in it. And I think it would be useful for all sorts of things like making bridges in our tree houses to suspend things on. Or it would be useful for maybe, I don't know if there's probably different sizes, so maybe some of the smaller sizes we could use to bind the boats together or something like that. So we find a bunker full of cables. Let's see. These are the spools of cable there. Okay. Project Dice. Okay, Assault on the Beasts is complete.
All right. So this ends. Right. So a bunch of hunters trained a bunch of say non-hunters, a bunch of the folks who either had reasons to go after the beasts or not, and they all assemble. They prepare to assault it with fire and spears, and they go into the lair, and then they find that the lair is essentially abandoned. There's 2 or 3 of the beasts that are clearly sick or injured that were left behind, but it looks like they fled the area. And so on one hand, the predators are gone. On the other hand, no one really feels great about that, if that makes sense.
Perfect sense.
Yeah, they're still out there somewhere. Fun. Okay.
Or they left for a reason.
Oh.
That's not better.
Yeah, definitely not better. Okay.
So, in the very least, those who've lost loved ones to the beasts, take part in a sort of a bit of an celebratory orgy of destruction, and destroy the nest at least.
All right. You want to put an X on the nest or something?
Yep.
I forgot we were supposed to put dots next to stuff that we've discovered, so I'll put little orange dots up here. or sorry, not stuff that we discovered, stuff that we've had a conversation about. We're supposed to put a dot by them. Okay, well, I was going to have a discussion about one thing, but since you cleared out the nest, I think our discussion should be, should we enter the old fortress now that the nest is cleared out, or is there something worse inside that we should be afraid of? So, Mendel, do you want to give us the first response? Oops. I think you're...
Right. I'm just deciding who. Okay. I think that representing there's a group of people that make up the community. I mean, the community is clearly several different groups of people who've come from different places back in, maybe generations ago at this point. And so, maybe driven here by the jackals. And at least one of the groups has, they have stories about buildings that look like that and the horrible things that happened to their people in places like that. And they worry that trying to take possession of it is going to lead down that same road.
I think there's definitely a contingent of people that are very fed up with living in the trees and are going to zealously advocate to move into the bunker so that they don't have to climb a tree every night if they want to go to sleep.
Callie?
I
Haley,
think
sorry.
you're good. It literally happens all the time. I think we found a new way to prove you're trustworthy to the group is exploring the abandoned fortress and seeing what's in there and reporting back to the group. Because I think currently the possible rewards outweigh the current risk.
I think we need to be cautious in entering there, though, because I don't think we are what scared the beasts away. I think there must be something worse inside of there that is stirring now that the device has been turned on, and perhaps the beasts are the canary in the coal mine and they left before something worse happened. Okay, Mendel, your turn. You need a card. The 10 of Hearts.
All right, let me look at that. There's another community somewhere on the map. Where are they? What sets them apart from you? Or what belief or practice helps to unify your community? I think I like that. I think the other community. Okay. I think that some of the crawdad fishers have noticed that there is a recently arrived group of people on a different part of the estuary. Specifically, they seem to have their own rafts, which are made out of some odd material. And they've set up a little cordon out here. Oops. The shape is weird. Okay, good. So yes, they have arrived from somewhere. They are recent, and they do not seem... Well, I don't think... We have not attempted to communicate with them yet. So...
Cool. Projects.
Right, the rafts go down to 1. Deciding what I want to do next. Okay. It seems like we have plenty of cable now, basically. So yeah, I think there's a logical... Oh, darn it. Okay. There we go. I think that there's going to be a project on the there we go. On our tree, on our Erzatz tree village to improve the safety. It can improve the improve the village with the cable.
I hope you're thinking like Star Wars giant trees swinging from cables to crush things. That's what came to my mind.
Well, I'm thinking more in a more straightforward way, like using these cables to build an elevator, or to build elevators to get people up and down out of the things we built in the trees. I mean, I doubt these trees are like redwood size. They're probably a lot smaller, but still, you know, pulling somebody up 20 feet is the kind of thing you don't want to necessarily try to rely on iffy ropes, basically. But that reinforcing things and so on.
So like safety railing. I love it. Yeah.
You know, fewer toddlers falling off of trees is a good thing. So
keeping OSHA happy, right? Yeah.
Maybe 3. That seems reasonable. Maybe 4.
3's good for me.
Okay.
Cool. All right, and that was your action. So I think Blaine. Card. Moving into the next season. Diamonds here. 10 of diamonds. So moving into summer. Oops, I think you're muted.
Okay. You discover a cache of supplies or resources, add a new abundance, or a scarcity has gone unaddressed for too long. Start a project that will alleviate that scarcity. Let's see. I think it really probably has been way too long to go without drinking water. That seems kind of important. So I will start a project to deal with that. And then I think that just counts as the card, and then I still have an action after that. So let's... And what sounds reasonable for finding a good source of drinking water in sort of a swampy island?
If we have to like purify it, it might be like finding some old world tools to do so. I don't know. Otherwise, digging a well probably is pretty time intensive.
Boiling. We just need decent enough pots.
So
But
it seems like
then
this
you
is
have
going to
to-
be like an involved hunt for something, so it could be a longer clock. Just because.
Yeah, I mean, are you looking for a spring? Are you looking for a place dry enough to dig a well? Are you looking to build a desalination factory, or are you looking to build an aqueduct from a fresh source of water, maybe in a less inhabitable area?
I think we're gonna put it at 4 and say it's gonna take a while, and then we'll resolve exactly what the solution was at the end, if that's okay with everybody. And then for my action,
And you get to reduce the dice too, so I think your rafts come good.
Yep. So the ref's finished. So I think now we've got the ability to. Oh, sorry, I'm messing up the lore mill. So now we've got refs. I'll put a drawing down for that as well. I think for my action, I want to hold a conversation, and I think the conversation is going to be, what should we do about these new people showing up in our territory?
Should I go first?
Yeah, Kelly, you're up first.
All right, cool. I think we should approach them as potential friends. We have plenty of food. They're not going to strain our resources too much. And more people is more people against whatever is either awakening in the fortress or the predators.
I think we should send out a spying party to observe their actions for a while, possibly take one of them hostage and figure out what they're doing here and why they're on our island. Mendel, you're up.
Right. I think that observing them is critical. There have not been many people outside of this community for some time, and it is quite possible that even if they appear from a long distance to be human, they may not be.
All right, and Blaine, you get to wrap it up with a final statement.
I think we should spend time investigating them cautiously, but I think engaging in violence first is probably not the correct step here.
I think that's everything in your turn. Kaylee,
Dun, dun, dun.
we have the 8 of diamonds. And I was thinking, Kaylee, your turn and then my turn, and then we'll take a bio break.
Okay. So the 8 of diamonds. Oh. Someone tries to take control of the community by force. Do they succeed, and why do they do this? A headstrong community member decides to put one of their ideas in motion, start a foolish project.
Those are both good.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh man, there's so many possibilities. So I think a headstrong community member decides to put one of their ideas in motion. It's one of the mothers decides that the slime mold is going to make everyone sick, and the best way to stop that is to build an enormous fence around the entirety of the slime mold to just hold it back, which of course with mold wouldn't work anywhere, but I'm going to put out project. Oh no, what have I done? What do you think? 5 weeks to build a fence that big?
5 weeks is about I was guessing. Yeah.
All right. Slime fence. Oh, and I reduced the other more sensible things that are going on. No, that was sorry. So an enormous slime fence, because that's totally going to work against mold. My turn. I would like to set up another project. One of taking a short observation of our new guests. No contact, just like hanging out, taking a look, seeing if they look human or not. Any ideas on how long that should take?
I think that's probably 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
I mean, maybe 1, but
2 weeks, just so they take off their disguises if they have them.
yeah.
All right.
All right,
That's
cool.
my turn.
I got the Jack of Diamonds. Predators and bad omens are afoot. You are careless and someone goes missing under ominous circumstances. Who? Predators and bad omens are afoot. What measures do you take to keep everyone safe and under surveillance? Do not reduce project dice this week.
The slime fence works.
Who goes missing? So I think there were 2 groups sent to do the observation. I think like probably like 2 people in each, 2 or 3 people in each group. And there was Team A and there was Team B. And Team B didn't come back. So I'm gonna have to figure out what graphic shape to put on there for missing Team B.
You can use a question mark.
I suppose so, yeah.
A struck through B.
Or just Team B question mark.
Just put B question mark.
Yep. That's what you get for calling them Team A and Team B.
Yes. Alpha. We could, if someone wants to come up with a better name than Team B.
Wait, does that mean we should still reduce his observation because only one team is now observing instead of 2?
Yeah, those still get resolved. Maybe they saw something. Who knows? One. Okay, and I'm going to do discover something new. And what it is we start to see lights in the sky. And they are bouncing from the lighthouse to the object. Oh, that's too big. And, oops. And from the lighthouse out to the city of Atlantis out here, whatever that is. And they are also triangulating on our new friends. It's not really a triangle, but we'll call it good. So there's kind of weird lights kind of flashing across the sky and kind of like spotlight type of things, like not the bat signal, but when the spotlight's up in the air, you see the line going through, or laser lights, I guess, maybe too, something like that. Okay, that was it. So let's take a 10-minute break and come back at 9. Oh, my time is 9:45, so come back in 10 minutes.
Yep. Cool. Sounds good. All right, I'm back, but obviously my view won't change, so just to let you know.
Cool. Thanks, Mel.
Sorry. Oh, I started hearing people talking. I was like, oh my god, who's in my house? What's going on?
Cool. All right. Well, we're all back. So I guess that means, Mendel, you are up. If we want to jump right back in, or...
Sure.
Cool. All right. Queen of Diamonds.
Queen of Diamonds. Right, yeah, okay. Still on Diamonds. A project finishes early. Which one? Why? Okay. That's an interesting... Yeah. Well, there's two projects that could finish early, and only one of them is not foolish. So, and I don't see how the slime fence could finish early, so it'll have to be the drinking water.
They could abandon it.
Oh, could they? I thought it finished. That's different than...
Finish doesn't have to be successful, right?
Yeah, it's... let me double check on the rules real quick. But
it implies that you really shouldn't, like... The implication I get was that it should be successful. It may not be, or at least it should generally not, like, a project finishing should not generally be a bad thing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But whoever put it out there would get to just kind of describe how it goes. But I think it could also just be
actually, if I recall.
Oh, right.
The rule says that if it finishes early,
you're right. Yeah.
So, yes, I say this though I risk contempt. All right. In any case, I still think the drinking water. I think that we discover that in this strange little crater biome, there is a source of clean drinking water. A sort of a spring there. And that is something that we could use. No. Right. So I think that a spring is discovered and it is a viable source of drinking water. We just have to get it from that quirky biome, whatever it might be, to where we need it to be. And then meanwhile, two projects are going to conclude. So I'm going to conclude mine first, just because it's pretty straightforward. We've now reinforced things. We've made it safer and perhaps a little bit more protected using the cables. We've potentially depleted some of our cables, but in the process, we have a much more functional city. I'm going to draw some stuff in there. And then I guess this observation task also finishes.
Yes, it does.
So go ahead.
So there's only Team A left. And I think they're about to come back. And they're pretty sure, these are just people. And on that last day, something weird just happens. And someone stretches, and then they keep stretching. and they keep stretching until they're like 10 feet tall or something, like something ridiculous. And it becomes really clear that they're just not right. They're either aliens, there's just something wrong with that other group. Just keep stretching, man. They get long.
Right. So if you want to delete observation off of there, and then Mendel, when you're done drawing our reinforcements, then you for the cables, you still get an action.
Right.
Was Kaylee talking about the observation? I couldn't hear anything from.
Oh, did you hear me? Right,
Oh.
you're okay.
Yes, I did. Can you hear her now, Blaine?
Can you hear me?
No.
Oh, that's not good.
I also heard you. Okay, Blaine, can you hear? You can hear everyone else?
Yeah, I can hear everybody else, just not her.
Oh.
That's weird. Let's see. Do you want to pop out and pop back in real quick and see if that solves it?
Yeah, I'll try that. I can't see what she posted in the chat, so that's working, just not the voice. Strange. All right, let me pop.
He's dead. Oh no.
All right, try it again. Kaylee.
Hello? Can you
All
hear
right,
me now?
I can hear you now.
All right.
All right.
So basically people got super, super stretchy there on like the last day, and it's just, they ain't right, man.
Okay then.
How did you want to draw that?
Oh. Don't watch me do this. Just keep going.
Mendel, what's your? Did you decide on an action?
Yeah, I'm going to be boring. Okay. I think that we need to build a wooden aqueduct from the fortunately the slightly higher elevation area where the crater is down to the town.
Okay, cool. While you're drawing that in, we will get the next one underway here, Blaine. 6 of diamonds.
Okay. Outsiders arrive in the area. Why are they a threat? How are they vulnerable? Or outsiders arrive in the area. How many? How are they greeted? So, I sort of feel like this whole thing is sort of addressed by the stretchy aliens a little bit. So I think with our B team missing, I think this is... It feels kind of like a cop-out to just use the same group as the outsiders arriving, though. So I think we'll have a new group show up. Question then is, are they friendly or are they not? And I think we get some sea people show up and they take up roost in the Atlantis building, and I think they're I think they're a threat because we see like something that belonged to the B team just wash up on the shore, so we believe they're dragging our people out to sea for who knows what purpose. How are they vulnerable? They can't really come out of the water, so they do seem to be waterbound. Now I have to figure out how to draw that.
All right, we need a number for the aqueducts when you get the chance.
I think that's complicated. 5 at least, yeah. So evil mermaids and stretchy people. Oof.
How to draw that? I don't think there's a shape for mermaid, is there?
No, maybe you could find a little image to insert, though.
It's a person with a triangle instead of legs.
You could use like a lightning bolt and then put a head on it.
Oh, that's a neat way to go about it. Yeah, let's try that.
Good idea.
Thank you.
I'll continue filling that out after. I guess at this point we should reduce the slime fence another step. Aqueduct goes down to 5.
Mhm.
And then I think discover something new. I think we discover how the stretchy aliens got to the island. There's going to be like a strange metal box that brought them.
Unless they're the native humans and we're the aliens.
The stretchers.
The lore doesn't go back that far.
Oh no.
There's no way to know. Right.
All right. Kaylee, you got the 7 of diamonds.
Excuse me. So I need to introduce a mystery at the edge of camp, or an unattended situation becomes problematic and scary. What is it, and how does it go awry? I don't know that we really haven't attended anything yet. We're kind of working our way through our mysteries. Um, I think the slime mold starts to light up around where the artifact is. Like just little nodes of it start like coming up and floating in the air, and they're just kind of glowy and disturbing looking because they kind of switch through all the different colors of the slime mold. A weird strobe light kind of thing, I guess. It just keeps happening and it's spreading further and further around the artifact. I have no idea how I'll try that, but
you could just modify the slime mold object.
That's true.
I did put up the slime fence
Thank
because
you.
we
I
didn't draw that
appreciate
back
it.
when. So it's 2/3 complete. Something like that.
I'm so glad someone's out there building a fence around the glowing slime now, you know? It's
Just completely ignoring the stretchy aliens not too far from me.
whatever, yeah, the slime mold, it's gonna kill everyone. Ooh, that's a good shape. I'll use that one. No idea what color that is. I'm working on it. Oh gosh. Oh, I need to like do my other action. I'm sorry, guys. Got distracted.
worries,
I was
no
so
worries.
excited about the the shiny slime, man. Like,
I like the little spores floating around. They're great.
thank you. I would actually like to start another project. I really think we should start investigating the fortress just because we're having so many aggressive neighbors moving into town. Anyone have an idea of how long we should?
I think like 3 weeks. I think there's like a few like unopened areas and stuff that we have to go into.
All right.
Sounds good.
Takes time to get the doors pried open.
Yeah, they're probably rusted shut and stuff.
Okay, that was your action. I got the 2 diamonds. So someone new arrives. Oh man, we don't need anybody new. Why are they in distress? Someone leaves the community who, what are they looking for? I think a group of family members try to get the warriors together to go in search of their family members in Team B who have not come back, and they found those things on the beach, and so the warriors are like busy with this exploration of the fort and like guarding against these stretchy people and posting lookouts, and now guarding their rafts and stuff down at the lumber mill to make sure the fish people don't come up there, and so they decline to help them. And so I think a family decides to take it upon themselves, and they go out in search of their loved ones. So I will draw a family in a minute here. I'll draw some stick people. Projects go down. And the slime fence is complete. So, Kaylee, what happens with the slime fence?
Well, scary, creepy lights start turning up, so the people who are a little less smart try to work through the night because it's kind of bright there now. But really, someone comes to their senses and says, "Let's just go. You know, there's stretchy people. We're dying. It's just a bad deal. Let's just." So I think there's like half of a fence, and the mold's already growing over it. So it didn't go particularly well, but at least we're no longer trying to build a slime fence.
All right. I'll come back to my stick people search party family out in the wilderness, unprotected, all by themselves in a minute here. And I will go over to actions. I'd like to hold a conversation. We're surrounded by threats. We must remove one of them now. And that's going to be a statement, so it won't come back around to me. Mendel.
Clearly, the most dangerous threat is the sea people because they are in the place where we get our food.
The sea people are also much harder to fight because how can you fight in the water?
Could we turn them against each other so they just fight and then we wipe out whoever's left? Is there a possibility of that instead of spending all of our own energy?
All right, that's the end of that turn. Mendel, you're back up.
Right. Don't you get to chime in on that too before the end?
I didn't start with a question.
Oh, you started with a statement. That's
started
right.
with a
Sorry.
statement that we should remove a, yeah.
Okay, got it.
You get the 5 of diamonds.
All right, sounds good.
Where do we put that yellow dot?
Next to sea creatures?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that works. I got it here. I got to figure out how to move my people now that I mean, oh no.
All right. I'm going to go with the weather is nice and people can feel potential all around them. Start a new project. I think the project that is clearly started is creating warboats. Because that seems like that's an idea. Oops. I'm just trying to make this visible where I'm putting it. That's the opposite of visible. That'll do. Okay. Yes, if we're going to either take, if we're going to go against the sea people, or at least defend ourselves against them, and everything seems to be on the coastline anyway, except for the slime mold. And we have a fence, so that slime mold's fine. How long do you think it would take us to make warboats?
Haven't we already made boats?
Oh, no,
we
no.
kind of have experience with it.
Oh, true.
So
well, we haven't made boats. We've made rafts.
That's fair.
So,
Make war rafts.
Sure, war rafts.
We put spikes on the bottom. Yeah, 4 or 5 weeks, yeah.
Okay.
Ramming spears.
We'll go with 5.
The fronts of the logs are just sharpened.
Yeah. I mean, they're sea people, right? We just have to aim for the top of the water.
There is some engineering. There are some engineering questions here. We're going to have to try some designs. So, okay. Then everything else proceeds. Oh, the slime fence got finished before, didn't it?
Yep.
I forgot to remove things, sorry.
It's all right. Aqueduct is almost there. Okay. And then
did exploration wrap up? Did you reduce that one?
No, he reduced it.
Oh, you did? Okay, sorry.
Yep.
Yes. I did. War Rafts doesn't because it got generated this turn.
Yeah, there was 3 ticks on exploration. So
2, but yeah.
Yeah, there was 2 at the beginning of this turn. So yeah. Okay. Okay. So, I'm going to try to start cutting things together. Maybe. We'll see. All right. So I'm thinking of a discovery. The discovery is that it is made by a member of this family. We don't know what happened to the rest, but one of them makes it back and tells us that they've seen one of the sea creatures climb out and turn into one of the stretchy people.
Oh no.
This is gonna go swimmingly with the war boats here, the war rafts. I'm excited.
oh no, just don't know.
Oh no, I did that wrong. Okay, second. Not what I wanted. Arrow.
But I mean, it makes sense if they're deep sea seamen. That removes all the pressure, so you're like extra stretchy, right? There's more
Just
of
like those blobfish.
yeah,
Yep.
it's blobfish, but evil.
We don't know they're evil. They're just probably vivisecting people.
It's science. It's science. All right, that was your action, I think.
Yes, that was my action.
Yeah. Okay, great. Blaine, you're up with the Ace of Diamonds.
Was muted. A contingent within the community demand to be heard. Who are they? What are they asking for? Or a contingent within the community have acted on their frustrations. What have they damaged and why did they damage it? Is it permanent? Let's see. So I think this is a consequence of us not addressing the lack of trust. So I think there's just like a group of the community that has started to distrust the primary group, and their section of the tree village is they damaged the cable bridges between them. So now we've got basically 2 slightly separate tree villages. As far as is it permanent, I think it could be repaired, but at the moment they're not going to let it be repaired until they can actually trust the other side again. The exploration finishes. Oh.
Yes, it does. I think what you find in the fortress after you get past the nest, which I'm assuming is kind of like a raccoon nest, and it's just bad and things are all over the place. The place is just tossed. You're finding a really, really old fortress. There's not a lot of windows. It's kind of dark. It's a little musty. There's probably some mold in there. So we could use it, but there are definitely health risks involved. And it's not like the greatest place, but the walls are solid. Does that seem fair?
Mm-hmm. Okay. And actually, with that, I will start a project, and the group that broke the bridge is going to start moving into the fortress, taking all their stuff down from the trees and dragging it overland to the fortress and setting up there. Does 3 weeks sound
Yeah.
good for that?
3, 2, that's fine. Either one. Are you going to draw the separation in the village? Just like a slash through it or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That might do.
Change the color.
Talking to myself. I wish there was a way to like pin stuff to the background so it was easier to select other stuff on this program, but it's a little bit hard.
You can muck with the ordering, like you can send stuff forward and backwards, but yeah, unfortunately, you then have to send the background piece even further back.
Yeah.
It can be done, it's just a real pain.
All right. Is that it, Blaine?
Yep, I started a project for my
Alright.
actions. So.
Callie. Oh, 8 of clubs.
Oh no.
It's autumn.
Of clubs. Oh no. So someone sabotages a project and the project fails as a result. Who did this and why? Someone is caught trying to sabotage the efforts of the community. How does the community respond? I'm so sorry, guys. There's just I think someone is caught trying to sabotage the moving into the fortress group. Like they keep, taking what's already been moved and putting it back because they're concerned that once those people move in, they'll lock the people who are outside out, and those people will suffer from being caught between a locked door and one group, the stretchy fish people. Like that's just a hard place to be. Like you either get eaten/killed or you just starve to death. So they're caught kind of doing that. And I think it's a really hard thing for the community. Like this is like the core of the distrust, right? Because someone wants to leave, but we're scared that if they do leave, people who stay suffer. And the people who want to leave are worried that they'll suffer even more if they stay. So I think it's a big, long, drawn out fight one evening, just trying to figure out how the heck we're going to manage so many threats and potentially a safe place, but no one really getting along anymore. Like it's come to a boil. But in good news, the aqueduct finishes. Mendel, I believe that was your project.
Right. So now finally there's a source of fresh water in the village, as it were. Right. Transported through that raised aqueduct across into the tree part, into the tree village. Isn't a whole lot more to that. The water probably tastes a little bit. You know what? I'm going to say the water probably is quite. It just has an odd flavor to it that's not unenjoyable. Something about that strange biome that it's coming from seems to, yes, give it not quite an otherworldly flavor, but something different. Okay.
So I want to start a project, but I'm not sure. Oh no, there's contempt on the board. Oh no, sorry, I just saw the chat.
I just figured what you were going to choose to destroy a project, so we would have contempt on the board, but you didn't go that way, so.
I didn't. We should have this all out in the open so we can punch each other in the nose. It's a great time. I think I want to start a 6-week project on building trust, just working together. But I don't know how to represent that on the board. Like trust falls, that's dumb thing. But just sharing, building up the foundations of what trust should be. Because we have enough food, we have enough water, we have transportation on the way, or like we already have transportation. We have everything that we need to be a functioning, beautiful community. I mean, except for the stretchy people. And we just need to find a basis of how to communicate. But I have no idea what to call that project. Any ideas?
You can just put building trust as a project now, and then we'll figure out what that looks like when we get there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, what happened? Oh, I did it right. Did I? Panicked. Wait, no, something's going wrong. Oh my god. There we go. Gosh, sorry.
All right, and that was your action?
That was my action.
Okay. So I got the 2 of clubs, which is someone returns to the community. Who? Where were they? You find a body. Do people recognize who it is and what happened? Team B returns to the community. So I'm going to just put them over there and remove the question mark. Where were they? They were with the stretchy people. They were taken in, treated nicely, but not allowed to leave. They had all sorts of instruments pointed at them, and the flashy lights in the skies, they saw those kind of beamed around different instruments. And then they're not sure why, but the stretchy people finally just let them go.
That sounds like a great time. Nothing could possibly go wrong with that.
Team B is back. Okay. So trust is down. Moving in is almost there. The war rafts are here. I think we discover something new. The slime mold has been growing underground, and it has reached the edge of the biome where our drinking water is. So I'm going to add a second slime. Oops. No. I don't want the fence. I want the mold. But there's floating things all around it.
You can group those together. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Usually it grabs everything that you touch, yeah. All right, well, I'll work on that as the end of my action. So next, Mendel, 3 of clubs.
You are muted, Mendel, if you are talking.
No, I'm just deciding. All right, so 3 of clubs is either someone leaves a community after issuing a dire warning. What's the warning? Or someone issues a dire warning and the community leaps into action to avoid disaster. What is the warning? Start a contentious project that relates to it. Okay. Oh, something's moving around in the background. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. Sure what that is. Okay.
I gave up trying to copy the slime mold, so I just put the spores over there.
Understood. Okay. Got it. Mm-hmm. Okay, so which of those should I have happen? So one of the first of the warriors to explore the deepest parts of the fortress has been talking about increasingly more violent and destructive dreams, up to and including, vivid dreams of her enacting violence on other members of the community. So she brings this up at one of the early trust building meetings that they're trying to do. That she's become convinced that the fortress will lead to their destruction. I don't think that leads to a contentious project, because I don't think that the community takes her at all seriously.
Where does she go? Because I do believe it says.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I missed that part. Okay. Leaves the community. Where does she go? Actually, I think she goes off to consult the fishy people.
I hope she speaks fish.
Oh, that is annoying. Okay. Thought I can handle that. I'm going to copy your... Okay. No, I know it's... And what I want is... Should have done that differently. Okay.
I think we got it. But yeah, it's really hard to move things.
Yeah, I should have grouped things before I moved them. Okay, so.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. That was
And yeah, that was my draw card.
okay. Yeah, right.
And then moving in finishes. I'm going to proceed on the rest of these.
Moving in was Blaine's project, I believe.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. So I don't think there was any issues with the moving in. And I don't know if it's confirmed for people yet if they're having if there's actually like weird violent dreams as a phenomenon, but I think there's just like definitely been a few nights of restless sleep where people are just worried because it did unsettle some people, and they're taking that to be the bad dreams being caused by the place, whether or not that's actually the case.
All right, Mendel in action. You're muted if you're speaking.
All right, let's have a discussion. Okay. So as a callback to previous part of the discussion, there is think of it as an ethnic group of people here whose people were tortured or whatnot in buildings much like this fortress. So can we trust the fortress dwellers?
They've only been in the fortress for a few nights. They can't have changed that much.
As long as they continue to come to the trust building exercises, then we should at least give them the benefit of the doubt. Because I think very much they moved into it for shelter, not for historical reasons.
I don't think we can trust them. That place is full of evil, and it's going to take them over, and we'll all be sorry for it.
So I'm good ending it there. So yeah.
Okay. Blaine, your turn. Here we go. You got the 9 of clubs. Yeah, you're muted.
Oh, guess I'll reread those. Oops. The community works constantly, and as a result, a project finishes early, or a group goes out to explore the map and more thoroughly and finds something that had been previously overlooked. I think it's people have been very worried and distrustful of each other and all that, and they've thus been working really hard on the war rafts just in case. So I think the war rafts finish early.
So that was Mendel's project?
Yep. Although with the what was the rule that
Oh,
if
right.
Yes, but you get to describe it.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we've like people are engaged in the trust exercises and all that, but there's just too much uncertainty going around. So um, they've just been really putting a lot of effort into building the warboats or war rafts, I guess. Which I think, as discussed earlier, they've got like the pointed tips. They've probably got like various spikes on the bottom, and just like weapon racks and stuff on the boats as well.
Should we add a new
Yeah, I'll add it.
plenty there of defenses, or just add the war rafts?
If nothing else, we could remove our lack of transportation.
Okay, that works. Cool.
We could just add some spikes to the raft that's already there.
You got to take a war raft when you go grocery shopping. You know, it's
Yeah, or you don't get discounts.
It's basically the equivalent of people just driving the Hummers around. Man, this thing does not want to let me select the raft without selecting the island.
I would just draw like triangles around it or something. I don't know that you're going to be able to get that raft selected very easily because the island overlaps it in terms of its box. So that's why you can't select one without the other.
Oh no, what have I done? Yeah, I'll keep working on that. But trust building decreases by 1. So now we've got the war rafts, we've got people moved in. I think. So I think we discover something new, and what it is that we see more of those boxes that the aliens arrived in, and they don't land, but we see them start flying over the island periodically. So they'll just like make passes.
All right, Kaylee. You need a card, and that is the 10 of clubs.
10 of clubs. Oh no. So harvest is here and plentiful, add an abundance, or cold autumn winds drive out your enemies, remove a threatening force from the map and the area. I think an unusually cold autumn like just hits, like it starts dropping almost to freezing, which is super weird for an archipelago because those are typically around tropical areas, if I remember right. And the water just gets too cold. So I think rather than just leaving, they all go on shore. So we just have stretchy people now. There's no one in the water.
But there's a lot more stretchy people on our island.
That's kind of true. Oh,
Projects.
oh. Give me my mouse, but no. Oh. 2 weeks on trust building, guys. Aren't you excited? um. Um. I'd like to start a project working on keeping our water source clear of mold spores. Like making sure the water remains potable or however the hell you say that word, I don't know. Drinkable. So we don't like accidentally get infected by crazy alien mold that glows in the dark. That just doesn't seem like a good idea. So an investigation into safe drinking water. Any idea on length of time for that?
It probably means investigating that biome.
Yeah.
So, 3 months, or sorry, 3 weeks.
3 months.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was going to say,
a long
like,
time.
I think it should be a significant
Sorry,
length
a
of time
little
because
flash
you also
of
want to
ramp.
be really sure that it's safe too.
Yeah.
So I would probably go
Is
4
this
or 5.
finding a solution, or is this implementing a solution?
I think this is ideally it's finding and implementing, but if we
Okay.
think finding is going to take too long, like that's going to take 6 weeks, then it could be 6 weeks of finding solution and then like a week or two to implement it afterwards. This could be a 2-stage project.
Oh, 6 weeks would be more than enough. Ought to do both, if it's possible.
Does that seem reasonable to everyone? Okay, cool.
I mean, we may not have 6 weeks.
Yeah, we're all going to be dead.
The first winter card could be the Frost Shepherds.
Yeah, I know. Don't remind me.
Okay, so that was your action starting a new project, right? Okay. So my turn here. I have the Queen of Clubs. Disease spreads through the community. Choose one. You spend the week quarantining and treating the disease. Project dice are not reduced this week. Nobody knows what to do about it. Allowed health and fertility as a scarcity. I'm going to go with health and fertility as a scarcity. Whatever this is, it's we think it might have something to do with the mold, but we're not sure. People's fingernails are turning black, and their like mucous membranes are leaking out a little bit of blackness, like fluids and stuff, and it's not good. And I think the fertility part we don't really know because this like just started. But mostly like when that's going on, nobody's doing the other thing. So I think we'll just leave it there. Project clocks, trust building. We're almost there. And safe water goes down to 5. And I think I'm going to start a project 2, which is a group of folks think that all this started when we dug up that artifact. The mold's been growing faster. These stretchy fish people showed up. The beasts that we were fighting moved out. So that had something to do. So I'm going to start a project. And I think it's going to be maybe like 4 weeks or so. And that's going to be to attack or try to damage the artifact. And then we'll see if it's successful when we get there.
Oh,
Does that work?
I would say it's less time than that if you're not sure if it'll be successful. I mean, if it's 4 weeks, if you're going to find a solution or find a way to destroy the artifact.
Okay, let's do that. So it'll be so that includes the discovery and the destruction.
We know where it is unless it's been moved.
I meant the discovery of how we
how to do
damage
it.
I think it's like some big metal weird thing, and it's kind of half
sure.
submerged. So we gotta like dig part of it out, and it makes people sick. And yeah, we'll do 4. Sure. Okay, so that was my action. So Mendel, back to you, and Ace of Clubs.
All right. The community becomes obsessed with a single project. Which one and why? Choose one. They decide to take more time to ensure that it is perfect. Add 3 weeks to the project die. They drop everything else to work on it. All other projects fail. Okay, so and the alternative is not applicable because there are projects. I can see 2 options here that make sense. One is damaging the artifact becomes the thing, in which case everything else fails, or trust building becomes something they focus on. I think it's more interesting. I think with the whole dreams thing, I'm going to be boring. I'm going to make it so the trust building, that trust building is at a 4. They really want to do it right. They really want to reorganize things. They really want to find a way to make it so that all the different groups that make up this community are feeling that they're heard within the sort of the new structures that they're forming. And it's not the kind of thing you can just do overnight.
You going for contempt there, Kaylee?
Well, I mean, I was worried he was just going to make it fail on the week it finished. So, like, a little cranky, but that's not the worst thing that could have happened. So, and he has a legit reason. Like, that I can feel that. I can understand that one.
Fair enough.
Okay. Now they all count down. In the interests of saying we're really focused on this, I'll bold this one. Okay. We should mark somehow that there are people in here now. We never really did that.
In the fortress?
Yeah.
All right. I'll build a couple people so you can keep on.
Okay. So I am going to do a discover something new and flip this around. She has come back from the fish people with a discovery. In particular, they the fish people are actually manipulating the slime mold because they say the only way to save us is to turn us into stretchy fish people.
All right, so that was your action. Blaine, King of Clubs.
A natural disaster strikes the area. What is it? Choose one. You focus on getting everyone to safety, remove an abundance, and a project fails. You focus on protecting your supplies and hard work at any cost. Several people die as a result. Let's see. I think the safe water project fails, and the abundance of drinking water is removed because the disaster is going to be another earthquake, and it's going to destroy the aqueduct. And trust building goes down. Damage the artifact goes down. And then I think I'll start a project to so I think people are very worried about the stretchy aliens trying to turn us into them and manipulating the slime mold, but I think we've realized that they're not necessarily overtly hostile. So I think we're going to send a diplomatic group to try and figure out everything that's going on and negotiate with them. I think that's probably a 3-week. Does that sound right?
Week there, week in negotiations, week back.
Yep.
Something like that. And should we add drinking water back as a scarcity?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, we should.
I think we were going to remove transportation.
Yeah, transportation's in abundance now. We have multiple kinds of rafts.
You got your family raft. You got your commuter raft. You got your war raft.
Yeah. Need your minivan raft. Yeah.
This raft can hold so many people.
All right, cool. That was your action there, the diplomatic? Cool.
Yep.
Kaylee, you get the 7 of clubs.
7 of clubs. All right. Oh, God. Why? A project just isn't working out as expected. Radically change the nature of this project. Don't modify the project die. When it resolves, you'll be responsible for telling the community how it went. Something goes foul and supplies are ruined. Add a new scarcity. Ugh. Ugh. I think someone forgets to close the bunker one night and all the cable just rusts. It gets all that water and moisture in it, and you pick it up and it's just not usable anymore. We can't use it. It's terrible. It says something about my state of mind that I almost did that to the trust project. Like, just make that fail out. I think we should discover something new. I think one of the people who's living in the fortress goes down into the depths of the basement, like the darkest, dankest corner of this whole place, and finds a new kind of mold. Like, it still glows a little, but it's definitely a whole different monster way down there in the basement. Or that's my action.
Okay, I got the, here we go, winter. 6 of spades. Time has come to consolidate your efforts and your borders. Projects located outside the settlement fail, and all remaining projects are reduced by 2 this week. Someone finds a curious opportunity, or someone finds a curious opportunity on the edge of the map. Start a project related to this discovery. Oh, let's see. It's winter. I don't know if I want to start a new project. Yeah. Trust building is going to finish, and I think our diplomatic trip.
And we destroy the artifact then.
No, it fails first.
I know.
So
that's what I mean. They both fail.
Yeah, they both fail. Yeah. I'm going to do that. You can, but the trust building is finally done, and it's done early. So I think that is Kaylee. That's your project, right?
Yes, it is. Sorry, I was just reading Blaine's comment. I'm like, oh no.
But it doesn't. Rye, don't you actually do all the?
Oh, yeah. Right.
I don't know what happens when a project fails because we actually haven't had a failed project yet.
I think when a project fails, you just don't. I think it's.
There's no description for what happened when it failed.
Trying to look in the rules real quick. If anybody
In
else
the
finds.
example of play, it implies that the active player decides.
When
why
a
it
project.
fails.
Okay.
Like, as in the example of play, it specifically says the person who's responsible for that project cannot chime in when being
Okay.
told why it fails.
Okay. Okay then. So I have to. Oh man, I have to do all three of these then. Okay. Yeah, this is what happens here. The team that was working to damage the artifact disappears. And the team that went on the diplomatic trip comes back. But they also don't have any memories of what they talked about or what they did while they were there. So they went and they came back early. But there's no understanding of are we friends with the aliens now or not? And then trust building, I think what happens here is everyone's getting freaked out about all of this stuff happening, people just disappearing all over the place. And so the remaining people, even the folks up in the fortress, they just decide that they have to hunker down and work together to either get rid of the fish people or whatever it is they're going to decide to do. So I think that's what kind of pushes them over the edge to finally come together there. And now there's no more projects on the board. And then I'm going to hold a conversation. And I think this is a closed door conversation with the leadership of the community. And it doesn't include any of the people who have come back from the fishy, stretchy people. And I'll start it with a statement. We can't trust them. They should be banished from the community. Mendel.
Sorry, that's the right after trust building, the whole not trusting people. Sorry, that's throwing me for a loop. Just a moment.
It's a new enemy that brought everyone else together, I guess.
But the people who came back don't seem to be vulnerable to the wasting disease.
There have always been diseases and there will always be diseases, but these interlopers are new and they were not here before.
I agree.
All right, that's the end of my turn there. Mendel, back to you. We have the 9 of spades.
All right. 9 of spades. Someone goes missing. They're alone in the winter elements. Choose one. The community organizes search parties, and eventually the person is found. Project dice are not reduced this week. No one ever hears from that person again. it doesn't kind of mechanically matter which one I pick. So I think I will pick the champion. She after she returns, she almost kills one of the elders, and then flees off into the wilderness, and is never seen again. Well, let's just make this very simple. Oh, okay. I see. All right. There are no projects, so no projects projects, which suggests that we need a project. I know there's a part of me that's wondering if I should pull that thing from the chat and steal a spaceship from the fish people. Oh, we don't have any more cable, do we? Okay. You know what? I think I'll just do a conversation then. Well, you know what? No, we need at least one project in play. Oh, also, is trust still a scarcity?
No, I think Kaylee got us that one.
I feel like we are, I don't know. Or maybe it's just
I mean, it seems legit. The whole island is being taken over by mold, which is making us sick. And
okay. So how much do we
people.
think that'll take?
Well, we already have rafts south of Wazoo,
right?
So.
Yeah, I just got to bottle up the supplies and go. Maybe like 3 or 4.
3?
Yeah.
Okay.
We got to get the sick down there though, and like I don't know. Are we taking the sick with us?
Yeah,
They got
yeah.
those-
And like anything that we want to bring down from the trees or the fortress, so I think it's 4.
And you gotta have like food on the boats, right? Or else we're
Okay.
just gonna starve immediately.
Yep.
So 3 or 4, yeah.
Okay. All right. That sounds like a thing. All right.
All right, Blaine. Here we go. Ace of spades.
Ace of spades. Now is the time to conserve energy and resources. A project fails but gain in abundance. Or now is the time for hurried labor and final efforts. A project finishes early but gain a scarcity. Yeah, I think the obvious answer here is that we are now ready to flee because we are panicked. So that finishes early. I think it's like we were like just going to slowly start bringing things down from the trees down to the rafts and all that. And it's just, no, we can fish on the way, grab what we absolutely need, and go. And then as far as what that'll do for scarcity, let's see. I think like all of our boats are like tied up in this now. So like they're all devoted to getting us the heck away from here. So we don't have a lot of them available for anything else. So we'll put transportation as the scarcity.
Okay.
No more projects. So I will actually start a project.
Flee.
Yeah. Is it only
Were we supposed to name the community?
at this point? I don't know that it'll make a huge difference.
Yeah, I forgot to do that last time too. So,
No one trusted each other with the naming. I mean, Greta was over there like, we should be Sunnyvale, and everyone went, no.
yeah, the focus groups just kept not working out. Yeah.
So it's Nameof Com Munity.
All right. That's my turn.
All right. Next one up. Kaylee, you get the 10 of spades.
I guess we should decide how long we have to flee. Now that we've got
right.
all our stuff in the boats. Because now we're prepared to flee, so now we have to actually flee. I think that would be relatively quick.
We could leave that as an end of game thing, like when the frost giants or frost shepherds come in, we're like, oh, we left. Sorry.
Well, I mean, the question
Or-
is, do we leave before it arrives, or what happens?
I don't know.
Well, this is the actual transit, right?
Yeah.
This is, I think, like
So-
maybe we have to like, do we have to do a couple of trips? So we're like carting people off to a new island or coming back for more people?
I
Sure.
feel like,
Maybe say 4 weeks.
Yeah.
okay.
That gives us a reasonable, gives us a less than even chance that the frost shepherds appear before we finish. But events occur.
So the 10 of spades is in preparation for the coming year. The community begins a huge undertaking. Start a project that will take at least 5 weeks to complete. I know, I was thinking of that. Well, we don't want the bad guys to follow us, but I'm trying to decide is whether or not we set up like booby traps or if we light the slime mold on fire and just try to destroy what they're controlling. Just burn the island to the ground as we leave. Any strong feelings on that?
I can't express them if I had them.
um, I'm gonna go with booby traps and just try to slow them down, throw them off our trail, because there are some molds that are like fire, awesome, let's just bloom out everywhere, and that's not what we want. We don't want that covering the whole world. What just happened? Not what I wanted. Yep. Nope. I can't copy it. It just keeps copying the 6. Oh. There we go. Shoo. How long do you think a usable distraction on booby trap will take to set up?
I think it gave you
We don't get to decide. It's 5.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. It's just... So I can either start a new project, which seems a little dumb.
Did you count down Project Exodus here?
I did not yet. There we go. I think we discover something new. So, someone who's out walking around notices that the slime mold has actually spread to the trees. And now we have palm trees that are coming up, and they're that virulent color, and they kind of move wrong in the wind. And it's just spreading towards us. That's my turn.
All right. I got the 3 of spades here. So, someone comes up with an ingenious solution to a big problem, and as a result, a project finishes early. What was their idea? Or someone comes up with a plan to ensure safety and comfort during the coldest months. Start a project related to this. We're getting close to the end here. I'll go with the, I guess a project finishes early, and I think the distraction will finish early. And we take some of our extra rafts and we kind of tie them together, and someone comes up with a good way to put a sail on it, and they kind of wait till the winds are just right, and it the the chain of these fake rafts that we have like put little dummies on, and like there's fake supplies on them and whatever, blow past the encampment of the stretchy people. And after a while, we see one of their extra spaceships kind of tailing it out into the ocean. So they think we've gone one way, but we haven't left quite yet. No. There we go. I need to take a raft if I can get it. All right,
I believe in you.
I'm going to move a raft over there.
If you selected it around the top, you can get it.
Yeah, remember control select deselects.
Okay.
It's already selected.
All right, I'm going to put a raft chain over here. Okay. Projects progress. So we have 2 weeks left on that one. And then on action. I think we discover something new. Just as we're clearing out the last supplies in the fortress, we see some of that other strange mold that was discovered down in there has made its way up to the entranceway. Maybe it got tracked up on somebody's boots. And as soon as it gets out into the light, it starts to glow the same color as the slime mold. As it does so, it kind of, the stuff that's right by the door starts glowing first, and then a couple of hours later we see once that glow starts, it starts replicating it all the way back down into the depths of the fortress. And here and there, things start humming and whirring behind the doors that we haven't opened yet. So I will work on that in a second. That will be my action. And then Mendel, you're up next. King of Spades.
But I'm not really.
All right. So
yes. I'll read it. Just a second. Yeah. All right. I kind of figured it would be me. The Frost Shepherds arrive. The game is over. Yeah, the rules say I have to read that. So.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh, so I wonder.
Okay.
Did we get off the island? Did we not get off the island? Oh, so close. We had 3 cards left. So, okay.
We can speculate what the Frost Shepherds are.
We can also speculate what the Frost Shepherds are. Do you want to do that on mic, or should I end the broadcast? I'll go ahead and end the broadcast, and then we can goof around for a minute, and if you guys have any feedback, do that too. So all right.
If you're watching this at home, you will never know.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's right.
So sorry.